Hello everyone and welcome back to TowerGate. It is TowerGate day number 956, November the 13th, 2019, Wednesday. Wednesday, that's the day that I take out the trash and have some chicken. Every Wednesday, I take out the trash and I have some chicken. With that in mind, let's go ahead and get to the news of the day. Well, what do we have here? It looks like that the Rotten Reverend is over in London. Yes, she's over in London trying to push that book that she did not write. By the way, the Rotten Reverend Clinton has never written a single one of those books that she sold in her entire life. Her books are all written by ghost writers. They write books for her and they slap her name on it. She's never written a damn book in her life, nor did she write this one. The gutsy woman. That's funny. So the Rotten Reverend is over in London, and she's telling the BBC that she is under enormous pressure from many, many, many people to run for president. Oh my God. Really? Because every time I watch a video and they go up to some man on the street or woman on the street and Democrats, I'm talking Democrats, not Republicans. There are people going out there and talking to Democrats. What do you think about Hillary? Nobody wants anything to do with Hillary. She had this fake draft Hillary campaign that she rolled out at the beginning of October. It has failed miserably, and now it's so bad that she is having to go out and beg people to join the draft Hillary campaign by convincing them that everyone else is begging her, everyone else is trying to draft her, when the truth of the matter is, rank-and-file Democrats amongst themselves, with the exception of the Hillary Clinton cultists, with the exception of that group, but most other Democrats that you see, they want nothing to do with the Rotten Reverend Clinton. Nothing! And she tells the BBC that she never says never. She's been saying never for 3 years. Nope, I'm not going to run. Nope, I'm not going to run. 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 Yep, and then about 6 months ago, she started changing that to no, I'm not running. No, I'm not running. And that's when I said 100%. Now, I said actually the day after she lost in 2016, she'll be back again in 2020. And then for the next year and a half or so, she's always, oh, I'm not running. I'm done. I'm out of it. I'm done. And then she starts saying, oh, well, I'm not running. I'm not running. And that's why I said 100% guarantee she's running. You know, and it's not just that, but she's over in London. Number one, she's trashing the president on foreign soil. She's interfering in British politics. She is complaining that this report, that supposedly they did some sort of an investigation in the UK into the Russian meddling into British politics. And they're talking about Brexit. And she's complaining and she's appalled that they have not released this report yet. Well, let me tell you, Reverend, why they haven't released the report on Russian meddling in UK politics. It's because they know that here in the very near future, probably within the next 6 months or so, less than that for the Horowitz report, it'll probably have some stuff in there about what was going on in London in relation to the FISA warrants, in relation to the confidential informants, in relation to the dossier and all that stuff. Remember, Horowitz interviewed Christopher Steele. So obviously, he's interested in the British role in the whole fiasco. The British government knows that. They also know that Durham and Barr are doing a criminal investigation, and likely a lot of the focus is going to be on the events that were happening in London between March and May of 2016. Key events taking place at that time, plus the events that were taking place regarding Michael Flynn were occurring in London back in 2015. So if the reason why they probably haven't released a report is because they'll look like complete idiots. They release a report condemning Russia for meddling in their politics or their affairs while at the exact same time, they're about to be exposed. Well, in fact, everybody already knows, but they're about to be exposed by Horowitz, officially exposed by Horowitz and Barr and Durham for their heavy-duty role, including very likely British GCHQ spying on Trump at Trump Tower, actually having surveillance on Trump Tower on behalf of Mr. Potato Head. That's not going to look very good. So in other words, the reason they don't want to release this is because it will make them look like complete hypocrites. They know that they can't release this and talk about how Russia allegedly meddled in their politics when they know that there's a bombshell report that will be coming out in the not too distant future, which is going to show their massive involvement in the American election in 2016. That's why they're sitting on the report and don't want to release it. They can't release it. She's nuts. She's also commenting on Brexit, saying she's very confused by it all. My goodness. Under enormous pressure from enormous pressure from many people to run for president. I can't tell you how many YouTube videos I've watched of just, various YouTubers who, Millennial Millie's got a couple of them. There's 2 or 3 other groups that go out on these college campuses and talk to Democrats. I just saw one literally yesterday. And I forget which group this guy is from, but he goes to these left-wing college campuses. He's out there at UC Berkeley talking to Democrats, college-age Democrats, asking them about the Rotten Reverend. Nobody, not a single person suggested they would like to see the Rotten Reverend Clinton run. None of the current people running in the Democratic primary have had much good to say about the Rotten Reverend Clinton throwing her hat in the ring. But I got to tell you, that would be, personally, there's nothing I would love more than to see the Rotten Reverend Clinton throw her hat in the ring and win the damn nomination. Now, she can't win the nomination fairly, and she knows that. She can never win anything fairly. She has to cheat to win. She had to cheat to beat Bernie, and she did everything she could to cheat to beat Trump, including paying for a FISA warrant and an FBI investigation. It still didn't work. Lord, please let the Rotten Reverend enter the Democratic primary. And please, Lord, let her win. Please let her win. Thank you, Lord. That's right, folks. That's my prayer. There's nothing I want more than the Rotten Reverend Clinton and a rematch in 2020 with President Trump. I have to tell you, I'm not going to lie about it. I mean, that's what I want. It's what I want so bad I can taste it. I want to see the Rotten Reverend Clinton in the race. She's not been able to run Biden off. He's still hanging around. God knows why. And there isn't a bunch of support for the Rotten Reverend. If there was, she would already be in the race. I remember back a couple of weeks ago, maybe even months ago, when it first started being speculated upon. This was probably 3 months ago, when it was first being seriously speculated on by Democrats at CNN, MSNBC, and other left-wing news outlets about the Rotten Reverend Clinton possibly getting in the race. And they're bringing all these Democrat, experts, supposedly, on their shows, and even they are saying, no, not Hillary, please, just go away. There have been liberal journalists writing articles telling her, please, go away. But her draft Hillary campaign has failed, and it's gotten so bad now that she's having to beg people to join the draft Hillary campaign. This woman wants that power so bad she can't stand it. She just can't stand it. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Oh, and they rolled out the red carpet for her over there in London. Oh, yeah, they rolled out the red carpet for her. Treat her like a queen. Unbelievable. Well, there you have it. Over there in the UK meddling in UK politics, complaining about Russians meddling in politics. And of course, she didn't hesitate to bring up the fact that they cost her. She blaming Russia for why she lost. She can't get off of it. When the most mind-boggling thing is, see, the Right Reverend Clinton must know that the majority of people are just don't tune into this stuff. They don't look into it. They don't care about it. They're not interested in it. They don't know anything about it, because anyone with a lick of sense in their head who even had just a little bit of information would understand that the rotten Reverend Clinton hired a law firm to pay a foreign ex-spy to go acquire damaging information on her opponent, and his sources were Russians. At least that's what he tells everyone. That's what she certainly believed. At least she pretends to believe. I think she knows the real Russians were named Cody Shearer, Glenn Simpson, Nellie Orr. That's right. My goodness, man. Please, let's get the damn Barr Durham investigation done. Let's get it done. Let's get it out there. Let's expose this entire fraud so we can finally get rid of this crazy woman. Put her ass in jail and be done with it, along with all her friends who were part of the coup. I don't know how much more of this I can take. My God. Well, what do we have here? Condoleezza Rice saying that investigating Biden is out of bounds. Well, thanks for that, thanks for those words of wisdom, Condi Rice. We appreciate that. Wasn't Condi Rice the person who recommended, because I believe Trump actually wanted her to serve in his administration, and I believe she referred him to Rex Tillerson. Good old Rex. Thanks a lot. Yes, but Condoleezza Rice, I didn't hear a peep out of her pie hole during the 2.5 years that Uncle Bob was doing his witch hunt, his coup investigation. Didn't hear a word about that. She didn't have any problem with that. No problem at all with Uncle Bob investigating Trump, when in fact there's enough information out there now that if she had a lick of sense and she had an honest, decent bone in her body, she would know it was an entire scam and part of a coup plot, which is still going on. And now she's piling on. Never liked Condoleezza Rice. Oh, she's smart. She's so smart. Oh, she should run for president. She'd be great. No. My God. Stupidity's going to get us all killed. It's going to cost us our freedom. It's going to cost us our liberty. It's going to cost us our money. It's going to cost us our country. We're going to lose it all because of stupid people. I now fully support a law where people should have to take a test before they can vote. People should have to take a test before they can vote. We have far too many stupid people voting. The dumber they get, the worse it gets for all of us. And they're getting dumber all the time. This country was never this dumb when I was a kid. People were smarter. They couldn't be this easily fooled. Even though they probably didn't bury themselves in politics every day, they had at least enough common sense to observe something and come to some sort of a rational conclusion about what they were looking at. That's gone. Common sense is gone. The ability to take a rational look and an objective look at something that's happening around you that's gone. It doesn't exist. My God, I fear for future generations, man. I fear for future generations. It does not look good. Short of a miracle. Well, it appears now that there's a whistleblower who is a government employee with a top secret SCI security clearance, has now filed a whistleblower complaint against the so-called whistleblower, Eric Sharamella. So now we have another whistleblower, another whistleblower, who's now blowing the whistle on Sharamella. So the whistleblower now has a whistleblower blowing the whistle on him. Well, that's interesting. This story just keeps getting crazy. How do you think he'll be treated by the bug-eyed fool? by the Democrats, by Madam Botox? Do you think he'll get the same treatment that the fake whistleblower is getting? Because this is an actual whistleblower here. He has retained a law firm. The law firm has sent the letter to the various people, letting them know that they have a whistleblower that they're representing. His complaint is about Eric Sharamella. Apparently, this lawyer for Sharamella has set up a GoFundMe. That crooked lawyer, Mark Zaid, or however you pronounce his name, has set up this GoFundMe, and it's not under Sharamella's name, it's under a fictitious name, but apparently the money, it's hard to say exactly where the money's going to go, but the group that set up the account is a group set up by this crooked lawyer, Mark Zaid, and they are involved in getting money through GoFundMe, which they use to carry out anti-Trump activities. So it's kind of muddy whether this money is going directly to Sharamella, and they're trying to raise 300 grand. They've already raised 250. They're almost to their goal. And so it's hard to say exactly if this is money being specifically raised for Sharamella, or they're using him to raise the money for the law firm, which has set up this company called United something or other, which is to raise money through GoFundMes to be used to run anti-Trump operations and activities and such. So this whistleblower who's blown the whistle on the fake whistleblower has now got a law firm. They've sent out their letters to the various parties concerned, and apparently it has to do with a violation by Sharamella setting up this, or having this GoFundMe set up on his behalf, because a federal employee is not allowed to use their position and as an employee of the federal government to raise money like this. This is not legal. It's actually illegal. It's also, if they find out that the money is coming in from foreign sources outside the United States, that is an even more grave violation. So, in fact, I think it's a department violation to set up the GoFundMe if you're a federal employee, but it's actually a criminal situation if you're taking foreign money for a American political activity. So there's some murky water here. It's not exactly clear exactly what is going on, but apparently this whistleblower is someone in the federal government with a high-level secret clearance who would know. That person probably knows if there is foreign money coming in, and that's the main point they're making here. So, in other words, this whistleblower probably has learned that there's foreign money being funneled through this GoFundMe for Sharamella, but it's not under his name, it's under a fictitious name, but it's on his behalf, set up by this crooked lawyer for this crooked law firm. And so this is what the claim is. So this is getting crazier all the time, but hey, I mean, if we're going to give Sharamella this wonderful platform, then certainly we need to give his accuser the exact same situation. He gets to accuse Sharamella from out of the shadows while remaining anonymous, and then the Republicans, or certainly the bug-eyed fool or Madam Botox, should immediately open hearings to determine whether or not the fake whistleblower is violating the law, taking foreign money through a GoFundMe. My oh my! I imagine by now, I haven't watched any shows at this point in the evening. I'll be getting to that shortly. I would assume maybe on one of the Fox News shows, or something like that, we'll probably see maybe Jordan or Meadows or someone comment on this particular situation, because this is like a curveball coming in from way out of left field here. I mean, I didn't see this coming. Did you? Did you see a whistleblower coming out to blow the whistle on the fake whistleblower? A day before, this comes out a day before the so-called open hearing, impeachment hearings are set to begin. I mean, the timing is exquisite. Absolutely exquisite. Oh, man. This is the craziest ass story I've ever seen in my life, man. Right along with everything else. Since 2016, man, things have just been, you talk about off the rails. We are in uncharted waters. What a bunch of craziness, man. Well, it looks like Alexander Down the Hatch Downer has been interviewed by John Durham. That's what's being reported in the Australian press. Now, following that story, he goes on to a news show or some kind of a, political show, I guess. And the guy who hosts the show is a former employee of Alexander Down the Hatch Downer. Down the Hatch Downer was his boss when they both were in government. Now this guy's got a talk show. So he's a buddy of Downer and was probably working with him in the coup plot. And so he's throwing softball questions over there to Downer, and he's dissing Papadopoulos, dissing the Spygate investigation, dissing the Barr and Durham investigation, the whole 9 yards. And so obviously Down the Hatch Downer basically tells him, he says, well, our president here in Australia has told the Trump administration that they would fully cooperate with Barr and Durham. And so I was asked to be cooperative in this investigation, and that's what I'm doing. I'm cooperating in the investigation. But I can't talk about anything that's going on because it's an ongoing, well, he wouldn't use the word investigation. He kept using the word inquiry. The inquiry. It's not inquiry. Inquiry is what they're doing right now to Trump in the House of Representatives. What Barr and Durham are doing, Mr. Downer, is a criminal investigation. And that's why they wanted to talk to you, because you're likely a criminal. They have obviously received information from Mr. Mifsud, and they probably have figured out that you were working with the coup plotters, Mr. Downer. And that's probably why they wanted to talk to you. Now, Downer says that we will find out when the report is released what there is to know. Now, my guess is that there's really nothing that Barr and Durham would really do to Alexander Downer. I don't think they would charge Alexander Downer. I think they're interested in getting to the root of the American officials who were involved in the coup. He's just a player, but I don't think they're targeting some of these foreign people. But I think they definitely want to know what their role was, because I think Barr and Durham probably think, well, these guys wouldn't have done any of this unless they were recruited. So Barr and Durham want to get to the people who did the recruiting, not the recruitees, other than getting their statements and getting the facts. But I would, if I had to flip a coin on this one, I would say that Downer probably lied through his teeth to Barr and Durham and didn't tell them anything more than what there is on paper. If it's not documented, if it's not in one of those wires that Downer sent to Australian officials, or if it wasn't something he said to some embassy official in the UK, if there's no paper document, then Downer's not going to admit to anything that there's not a paper trail or some evidence of. If there's no evidence, Downer is not going to admit to it. Anything where there is documented evidence, he would probably have to admit to it or be lying. Even though if he did lie, I don't think they'd do anything to him other than to say in the report that, well, Downer, we asked him the questions and he said this and this and this. We don't believe him because we have other evidence that suggests to us this. So, but I don't think they would go after him. And I don't think the Australian government would go after him. So, anyway, yes, Alexander Down the Hatch Downer was interviewed by John Durham. That's being reported by the press in Australia. Downer on this talk show says that he and his government are fully cooperating with the investigation, and that's really all he'll say. Now, 2 days ago, I reported that Papadopoulos had put up a tweet about Mifsud being kidnapped by Italian intelligence, and then he quickly removed the post. Now, we have in a major Italian newspaper called La Verità, Laverita, reporting that Mifsud was in fact kidnapped by Italian intelligence services on Halloween evening, October 31st, 2019. And he was kidnapped from somewhere inside Rome. And they're saying that Mifsud's whereabouts are currently unknown. I wonder why the Rotten Reverend Clinton's in London. Probably making some funeral arrangements. That might be something that she's doing. Do you think Mr. Mifsud is going to be in need of funeral services? Now, if Mifsud was a straight shooter and a straight player, and he really was just what he had been represented to be, he would have no problems. None at all. But he seems to be having a lot of problems. He's fearing for his life. He's hiding out, and now it appears everyone wants to talk to him. Apparently nobody knows where he's at, but all of a sudden Italian intelligence finds him, and they kidnap him, and no one knows where he's at. Clearly, there's something going on with Mifsud that's not of the straight and narrow. Well, we have the latest Joe Biden gaffe. This time, he's talking to an audience, and he's telling them how he keeps this paper with him every day, which he's not. He says, but I'm not going to do it now. And while he says he's not going to do it now, he pulls it out of his jacket and says, "This here I have on this card all my things to do list. This is my things to do list card that I carry with me every day, and every day on my card I have right here, this right here, a U.S. troop update." A U.S. troop update. Now, the original question he was trying to answer was what he's going to do for veterans. Maybe he doesn't know that Trump's already fixed the problem that Democrats created. Trump's fixed the problem. Certainly, there are more things we can do for veterans, but Trump took care of the biggest problem, which was the fact that he can now fire bad employees, which you couldn't do before. Trump's done more for veterans, disabled veterans, than any president in my lifetime. Obama and Biden did nothing. Nothing. So he whips out this piece of paper, and he says, here, and he reads it, and he says, see, U.S. troops dead, or died, 6,900. Yesterday, it was 6,989. So, today, it's 6,900. Yesterday, it was 6,989. So, apparently, 989 troops that died yesterday are doing well today, according to Quid Pro Quo Joe. And the Rotten Reverend can't even take this guy out? She thinks she's going to beat Trump? Please, Lord. The Rotten Reverend. 2020. It's my dream. We're also getting reports now that ABC is frantically looking for the person who leaked the Amy Robach tape to Veritas. Because, of course, he came out, as I told you, I think yesterday or day before yesterday, he came out and wrote a letter, which Veritas published on their website, saying, hey, no, this Ashley chick is not the person who leaked the tape to Veritas. I am. I'm the leaker, not her. You got the wrong person. And she's even said, no, I didn't do it. And he still works at ABC. So now they have no idea who he is. So now they're looking and looking and looking and digging and digging and digging. They have launched an entire, apparently from what we're hearing, a massive internal investigation, hired private investigators and all kinds of things, private detectives, retired detectives, to come in and go through all their systems, all their data, everything to try to find out who this person is. Because he's probably got more. There you go. We have the latest RCP, Real Clear Politics average out on the current situation in New Hampshire. Guess what? Kamala legs in the air Harris, currently in New Hampshire, is sitting at 1%. 1%. 1%. That means that I could probably go to New Hampshire, walk into a couple of diners, talk to a few folks, and probably never say anything about politics, whether I'm Republican or I'm Democrat, and I would probably get a higher, if you put me on the ballot, I would probably get more than 1% of the vote. there you go. Kamala has spent millions and millions and millions of dollars. She effing moved to New Hampshire. She hasn't got the T-shirts to prove it. Yes, she donated. She put all her energies into New Hampshire, and she's sitting at 1%. My goodness. So this latest RCP poll for New Hampshire is showing Quid Pro Quo Joe at 20, Hiawatha at 16, Booty Boy at 15, and Sanders at 14. It's pretty close. Well, the corrupt coup associate, the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community, Michael Atkinson, who we've talked about quite a bit. Excuse me, got the old frog in the throat. Michael Atkinson was spotted going into Schiff's basement bunker yesterday. This guy's dirty to the core. We already have learned that Atkinson was the lead counsel over at the DOJ, NSD in 2016 when all the nasty stuff was going on against Trump directly out of the DOJ, NSD. He was the lawyer to John Carlin, and after Carlin left, Mary McCord. This guy's up to his eyeballs in the coup plot. And we know his dealings with this fake whistleblower. He knew that Sharamella had no first-hand knowledge of the Trump-Zelensky call, which means he never should have accepted the complaint. He knows that Sharamella never informed the ICIG about his prior contact or coordination with Schiff's committee staffer. He knows that Sharamella never disclosed his contact on his contact form. Atkinson, of course, allowed the complaint form to be changed to accommodate Sharamella so that you could have second-hand second-hand hearsay information, which before you couldn't. He presided over all this. And, of course, Atkinson himself never reviewed the Trump-Zelensky call before he went through with the whistleblower complaint. Atkinson, of course, ignored his own legal guidance from the DNI and the DOJ not to move forward with the complaint. He did it anyway. This guy is total deep state. He was involved in the coup. He's trying to cover his ass, and he's a participant in the plot. He should be immediately arrested, castrated, stretched, and quartered, and then held accountable for his crimes. This guy is a total shithead. You can look at this guy. Just look at him. Go look at a picture of him. Michael Atkinson. Google him. Click on Google Images. Look at him. That is the face of a complete asshole. I can tell you that right now. He's got a guilty face. You need to lock his ass up. I certainly hope Mr. Durham is adding this to his list of things to look into. In fact, it should be Horowitz that should have canned him. Horowitz is over all the inspector generals. How is this not on his radar screen, man? The only reason Trump has not been taken out in the coup at this point is because he's so popular with his base and the fact that he's at 50% approval. If his approval rating was in the 30s, he'd be impeached by now. He'd be gone. And they'll never ever quit. And I don't trust a single damn Republican in the Senate. Not a one. What if they vote to have a secret vote? Where no one knows how anyone voted? That's something they're thinking about, by the way. Well, it looks like we now have the first member of Congress to come forward and actually say the name of the whistleblower, Eric Sharamella, and saying that he is the whistleblower. This would be Dan Bishop, a Republican from North Carolina. He has tweeted out the following. He tweeted out this on November 11th, 2019 at 8:14 p.m. He's not Voldemort. He's not even a bona fide whistleblower. Even if he were, he wouldn't be entitled to secrecy. Eric Sharamella is a deep state conspirator. He needs to testify now. Well done, Representative Bishop. Well done, North Carolina. And now that he's come out, anyone can come out. They always could. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow with more TowerGate. See you guys. Bye.